series, Edward Art Supply Hands, Receptivity, Part 20. In this series, I have spent most of my time speaking on appropriation. It is learning to take what is yours in your mind. That includes things, words, and feelings. That your mind is your own personal reality. That you are either its God or its servant. Or should I say, God believing He is a servant. You are either the God, creator of your assumptions, or their master in your mind. There is no other creator in your mind. There is only yes in the mind. There is no neutrality. Now I want to speak on receptivity. I found this to be important when it comes to imagining. I have noticed within myself a resistance created by me. I wanted to understand why I was creating a resistance. Here is what I learned. I am creating the resistance because I am afraid of letting my outer world go, and I am afraid of accepting the wonderful things within me. So this calls for an attitude change. One must know what you want before you can ask for it. One must know what you want before you can feel that you have it. And prayer is the feeling of the fulfilled desire. It does not matter what it is you seek in prayer, or where it is, or whom it concerns. You have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to see manifested. Neville. Sit quietly where you are and assume the mental attitude of listening. Recall your friend's voice. With this familiar voice established in your consciousness, imagine that you are actually hearing his voice and that he is telling you that he has or is that which you wanted him to be or to have. You assume a receptive attitude of mind. You remain in this receptive state until you feel the thrill of having heard the good and wonderful news. Neville. Receptivity. Willingness to consider or accept new suggestions and ideas. Suppose three people walked into a mall. In this mall, you can take anything you want. One person went into the mall with the attitude that they were going to say no to everything they see. The second person went into the mall not sure of what they want. They could never make a decision. The third person went into the mall with the attitude that since they are allowed it to have anything, they would choose precisely what they want. Now I want you to notice how the one who said no and the one who was not sure was left with nothing. They gained nothing and stayed in their present state of mind. So the point of this analogy is to show you that when you enter into the world of imagination, to enter into it with an attitude of receptivity, an attitude of willingness to accept what you want. Deny, a state that one refuses to admit the truth or existence of. Now we come to denying. That is to say that we must truly let go of what the outer world is showing us. True denial is not looking at your word and merely repeating, it does not exist, but is actually accepting the new reality within you. You do not deny being unwanted by stating you are not unwanted. You deny unwantedness with the acceptance of being wanted. It is our acceptance of our imagination which is our denial of the senses. So, denying is not something you do, it is the implication of your acceptance of the imaginal scene. To stress yourself on whether you are denying the evidence of your senses enough is an unnecessary stressor. You do not fight against your senses, for they only reflect you, because the true denial, as Neville says, is total indifference. But to be totally indifferent about your senses, you must accept your imagination as the reality. To become indifferent is the emerging consequence of accepting imagination as the one and the only reality. Man looks at his outer world, his reflection, and feels it's challenging to give it up, even if it is harmful. But that is the only sacrifice that is required of him. Man must be willing to give up his current reflection in order to enter into and feel his desired place in the mind. And the only way man can truly give it up is if he imagines something he loves, a reality within him that he loves, something that melts the fear away. If man loves it, man will commit to it. With this in mind, assume an attitude of receptivity, that you are not only willing but eager to accept all the wonderful gifts that you are discovering within yourself. The mind tells you, stop telling me what you don't want and tell me what you are. There is nothing you are not allowed to imagine and feel in your mind. You cannot wait for the word to change to what you want. You must change what you are and have an imagination. If you are tired of what your word is reflecting, you can be confident it will be reflecting that until you change you inside your consciousness. This calls for radically giving yourself what you desire in consciousness. View your mind as the place you are safe and free to feel and have what you desire. This will steer within an attitude of receptivity. This will allow you to feel it as the only reality that is under your control. Go entirely all out in your mind without fear. So before you meditate on the things you love, assume an attitude of receptivity. You are willing and eager to accept the lovely reality you are discovering within yourself. Do not limit yourself to the past. Neville. Whatever your human reasoning says, learn to accept the greatest gifts that you discover within yourself. Edward Art. Therefore, the individual who can summon at will whatever imaginal activity he pleases, and to whom the visions of his imagination are as real as the forms of nature, is the master of his fate. Neville, the Law and the Promise. This quote of Neville is what I am getting across in this series.